The world's rich and famous. The world's most desperately poor. Vastly different in many ways, but connected by energy policy.
This whole move to make electricity more expensive, which is really what the global warming debate is about, or the repercussion of it, this is one of the most regressive taxes on low-income people.
The poor face food shortages, contaminated water, disease, all of it made worse by a lack of cheap and reliable energy. But many wealthy Westerners actually want to make energy more expensive. Marchers at this rally in New York City say no to oil, no to fracking and natural gas, no to coal, even no to nuclear power, which emits zero greenhouse gas. Instead, radical environmentalists claim solar and wind power can meet the world's energy needs.
In 10 or 20 or even 30 years, the most of our energy use that we can satisfy with renewable sources is maybe 15%. So these energy policies are going to hurt the people the most that can't afford paying twice as much for their energy, which is the poor.
There's no technology that can make wind and solar comparable to the reliability, cost, versatility, all those things of fossil fuels.
That intersection of energy, poverty, and climate change was a major topic at a recent conference put on by the Texas Public Policy Foundation.
There's been no warming in over 17 years, so all of this discussion about shutting down certain parts of our energy industry is nothing short of a disaster for the economy.
One of the speakers at the conference, Dr. Caleb Rossiter, has spent much of his career living among the poorest people in Africa.
I don't think Americans who are marching demanding an end to fossil fuel created electricity can grasp what it's like to be an African peasant in a village with no electricity. The typical home in Africa is heated by burning wood or dung. The particulate matter from that creates tremendous rates of lung disease, heart disease. These are terrible, real, burning public health problems that can only be addressed if there's a power line that comes to the hut.
That by itself would prevent millions of premature deaths and hundreds of millions of diseases every year in the developing world.
While some activists in rich countries have a genuine concern for the environment, others have another agenda.
These are people who want to stop capitalism and feel that we should move back, that we should go back to the Stone Age before people had iPods and iPads and computers and all the things that we take for granted today.
Although very few of these marchers would ever give up their cars, air travel, and electronics, all of it powered by traditional energy sources.
80% of America's electricity comes from burning fracked natural gas, gas from shale rock, and from coal. 80%. When you use an iPhone and do things like surf and look at movies, that uses as much electricity, roughly, as your refrigerator in your house. So you are consuming, every time you watch a movie, sort of a pound of coal. So if you don't like that fact, it's going to be very difficult to change, except by throwing your smartphone out and not using it, to stick to paper and postage.
The push for so-called green energy makes traditional forms of energy more expensive, jacking up the price of almost everything we use.
That's the most offensive fact about what we do tinkering with the energy supply of the world, is that if you're wealthy, you can pay more for your energy if you want to choose to do that. The world has billions of people in energy poverty with nothing, no lights, no cooling, no heating. The only way they're going to get it is for the energy to be cheaper.
Mandating a switch to wind, solar, and other so-called renewable fuels is actually to condemn the poor people of the world to more generations of this kind of extreme poverty and high rates of disease and premature death.
The direction we're going for climate policy, for energy policy responding to the fear of climate change, is you're going to end up killing probably millions of poor people in the process. Is that what you want?
Policies of trying to move away from a reliance on fossil fuels affects those that are the lowest on the economic ladder and affects them to the point where they'll never be able to climb out of that and off that rung of the ladder. And that's what we're trying to educate and make sure people understand just how devastating these policies are.